welcome to another installment of Fantasy Failures. As always, I'm your host, Nick Cruikshank, and I'm joined by my hosts, Cam Backstrom, Justin Gillerman. So this week, as always, we will recap Stud versus Dud. We will get into our favorite Magic or Tragic. David Compton will bless us like the Pope with his ever-benevolent pick of the week. But first, let's talk about what happened last week. All three of us agreed it was pretty much the rise of the trash quarterback. So, Justin, what happened?
Case Keenum was a god against the Buccaneers.
Always the
Jacoby Brissett is still somehow playing really, really well.
Okay, but that's the Patriot thing, though. Like,
true.
I mean, remember Matt Castle? He had a pretty good career afterwards. So, Jacoby, I'm okay with that. But, like, Bortles? The Bortles
we
were
always
this week.
play bad in London. And by I mean bad, I mean this is our first time playing in London.
Best London team.
They're the best London team. Bortles, he had a field day, 27 fantasy points, 4 touchdowns.
Bad is
awful.
Bad is one thing. You guys got mollywopped.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Like, I was like, I wonder if he's alive.
I didn't want to get out of bed. It was
bold prediction though, that doesn't happen again.
Oh
God, it will not happen.
Never
it will not happen.
What happens in London stays in London.
Josh McCown, 249 yards, 4 touchdowns,
the
24.
The Jets are competent.
Best team in New York.
Yes, possibly.
The Giants are on 3.
See, the Jets, like, this is the worst part. Like, they're tanking. There's something that doesn't happen in the NFL. It's very prevalent in the NBA where you officially just tank a season. The Jets, their plan is to just fail.
Yeah.
So is Josh McCown going to get benched now? Who knows?
They played really well. And Jermaine Kearse, like, he's like an offensive machine over there.
They're finding some chemistry with the quarterback and now the receivers with Jermaine Kearse.
Don't worry, he'll drop when it counts most. I think it was just an off week. I mean, these guys, like said, Blake Bortles not going to be great. Don't rush to pick up Blake Bortles in your fantasy.
You're far, far away from him.
I do think Case Keenum, though, is an option. I think
if he can continue to play, if Sam Bradford's going to be out for a little bit longer, there's going to be no rush for him to get back. So Case Keenum might see a couple games. And they play the Packers, who have been susceptible to some passes. So favorable matchups if you're going to have Case Keenum.
Hoyer the Destroyer, though.
Seeing him live when I was at the Rams and Niners game was awesome because like he actually like looked really well.
I think
he looked really good.
He's not super talented or super good,
but he's serviceable.
Yes.
332 yards, 2 touchdowns, 26.2 fantasy points out of Hoyer the Destroyer. You're putting up almost Rex Grossman numbers back then. I know these kids are a little young, but Rex Grossman.
A lot of interceptions to the Vikings.
Yeah, but he was also the chairman of the I'm Going Deep Club. So, more or less, typical fantasy week. Like you said, just trash quarterbacks. Once again, shady, nothing. Like I don't know.
Shady.
I don't know what's going on there. That was my big. I mean, is it though? Like, are they going to fix it, or is?
I mean, they got the win over the Broncos, but I don't know. Like their offense looks shaky.
That was Tyrod Taylor making plays when they needed to, not making plays all the time, but when they needed plays to make, Tyrod Taylor was the one making the plays. Agreed.
What about you? Any general fantasy thoughts about last week before we dive into the rest of them?
Running backs had a couple good games. DeMarco Murray bounced back really well. And we're starting to see people gain their rhythm when it comes to fantasy and putting up stats that they're supposed to get. All
right, so there you have it. Like we said, trash quarterbacks decided to pull through. Other players are starting to find their groove a little bit. So let's see how the week 3 affected his power rankings. There were quite a bit of shakeups this week, a little bit.
A lot of shakeups.
Just a little bit. So let's just dive into it. Number 10.
Number 10, Jeff Mura. He was previously number 9. Poor Jeff. He is our only 0-3 team in our league. Tattoo Watch. This is Lloyd Tattoo Watch.
He is the Tattoo Watch.
Amari Cooper put up 1.6 points. It was very tragic. Le'Veon Bell isn't really performing like a second overall pick in the draft.
No.
He had a touchdown at 6 yards against the Bears. I don't know. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, we've said this over the past few weeks, that he tends to heat up toward the middle end of the season. So I'm not too worried, but I mean, you're 0-3. You got to win next week. It's a must win next week.
I mean,
you can't dig yourself too big of a hole.
No, you start
try to climb out of. So
Jeff, I mean, I'm hoping for you, but it'd be as long as I don't get the tattoo, I'll survive. All right, number 9.
Number 9, Nick Vieira. He was previously number 4 last week. The David Johnson thing, I think. Yes, he was previously 4. Yes, he was.
5 spots.
That's right. That's right. I don't mess around here. I drop people all the time. Look, listen. The David Johnson thing was a serious issue. I mean, he said he was fine, and I understand that you're confident in your team. But if you lose David Johnson, your first-round pick, things are not going to be good.
No, I agree.
He put up 73 points, and to put salt in the wound, he left Stephon Diggs on the bench. He put up 37 points.
Would that have helped?
No. Jago would have murdered him anyways. It would have been, instead of being 130 to 70, it would have been 100 to 130. So it wouldn't have helped. But The other big concern is he has the injury bug. Darren Sproles, David Johnson, as we mentioned, Jordan Reed, and Rob Kelly are all on. They're either injured or on IR. Not good.
It's like the Colts.
Like the Colts. It's really sad. So poor Nick. You know, we hope for him, but it's not looking good.
All right, number 8. You dropped this guy like
That's
dude.
right.
Holy cow.
That's right. Armando. Here's why. I played him this week. He got into my head week 1. He was like, "You're getting the tattoo. You're 0-1. You put up 80 points. Got into my head, right?"
Yeah.
Well, I played him this week. I absolutely demolished his life. I beat him by 40 and then some. And I left Chris Thompson, who scored 30 points on the bench. So it would have been
You
about.
keep talking about players on the bench like I don't.
This is the second week in a row you left him on the bench. Why do you keep leaving him on the bench?
Back to the point.
I have
Armando
multiple
put up
leads.
90 points. It was really sad too because, not being biased here, Matthew Stafford and Golden Tate had the game-winning touchdown against the Falcons. He has both of them. It got taken away.
I
at the
couldn't
last
tell you
second.
how happy I was.
I'm sure because the Vikings fan
hilarious.
right here. It was really sad to see that, but again, he dropped a bunch of spots. He's 1 and 2. I think he's going to make some more trade moves. I don't know. He dropped.
Number 7.
Number 7, Alfredo. Baby got Dak. I'm happy for him.
Why?
Well, because I didn't want him to get the tattoo. He's so nice.
I
And
prefer he get it.
I moved him up to
Get
7.
it over Jeff.
Look, Gronk had a huge day, 22 fantasy points against the Texans. T.Y. Hilton put up 28 against the Colts. Huge day for him. Breeze, of course, your standard 20 points solid for him. And then Julio Jones had 16 points. A little bit about Alfredo. He's the 4th highest scoring team in our league.
Can't play defense, though.
All right, number 6. It's your boy.
Nick Crookshank.
Nope.
Didn't move.
Didn't move.
Yeah.
Didn't go up. Didn't go down.
Consistency.
Consistency.
Yeah, but we all knew I was gonna get bodied.
Yeah.
Like it was.
It was a tough matchup.
It was.
It was a tough matchup, but Baldwin had a huge day, 26 fantasy points, which is clutch. And Christian McCaffrey had the best game of his career, put up 100 yards.
Almost left him on the bench for Terrence West.
That would have been a very bad move.
Fantasy failure.
That was actually Armando, Saturday Night Minnesota, who's like, "You're stupid." I was like, "All right, Armando."
Always
All
get
right,
in
so
your
how
head.
did that Seattle D though?
Really, really sad.
I
Negative 4
called
points.
it, didn't I?
You did. You definitely called it.
That was a good pick.
That was a really good pick. The Legion of Who is what I put in my notes. It was pretty bad. I mean, the Titans put up 33 points. But hey, no move.
The heat, the frustration, like.
You were right. You were right. 1 and 2, no move. I think you're fine where you're at.
And you know what? I mean, looking at it, at the end of this, I think we already know who's gonna win the damn thing, but whatever.
We'll see. Anything's possible.
Number 5.
Number 5, K Storms. Again, no change. He was previously 5. He's still at 5. Ezekiel Elliott bounced back. He left Sammy Watkins on the bench. I know I like to talk about bench things, but this shows during bye weeks that he has a productive bench, which is what you want. 20 from him. He also left Cohen on the bench for 14. In my notes, I said if he fixes those mistakes, he could beat me next week. I'd play him next week, and I'm honestly terrified.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen any given week. So Kyle Storms 1 and 2. Good choice.
All right. Number 4.
Chaz, God, this one hurt. He was previously 8. Now he's at 4. Why is that? Well, he's 2 and 1. And look, numbers can't lie. Russell Wilson and Devontae Freeman combined for over 50 points. Jordy Nelson had 2 touchdowns. That was another 25.
Huge production day.
Huge
No,
production
it
day.
was.
And it was a somewhat of a beatdown on Kyle. It was 125 to 103. So, Chaz, good for you.
Whoa. All right, number 3. Let's hear you talk about yourself.
Oh, this is great. I'm number 3. I was previously 7. I put up 128 points. Great day. Dalvin Cook, as you said last week, he said he was tragic. I said he was magic. 27 fantasy points against the Buccaneers. Huge day.
He did well.
AJ Green finally decided to show up and play a game. 110 yards and a touchdown. There's no such thing as an easy week, but I'm looking good.
Unless you play Jeff.
Yeah.
Probably.
Or Alfredo.
Or Alfredo. You never know.
Whatever. All right, number 2, Jay Gill. Woo!
Yeah, I moved
I'm
him down.
number 2?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Hashtag not my ranking.
I moved him down because
Not my
of a
Fake
one,
rankings.
Phillip Rivers put up 3.5 points.
But I also scored 130.
I know, and that's honestly terrifying.
Welcome to the 1 PPR.
Todd Gurley went haywire. Watching him live was incredible. 36 fantasy points.
Still hate him.
I will notice that every week you say Todd Gurley, blah, 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 but then he keeps putting up numbers. So.
Oh, no,
Look, I didn't doubt
You gotta
him.
buy it.
He
I didn't
will
really-
fail you. When you least expect it, he will fail you.
I didn't really doubt him this year, but what he's doing is insane. Serious numbers. OBJ put up
He'll tear his
28.
ACL in 2 weeks.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad. OBJ had a day 28, and Larry Fitzgerald 33 points. And Kareem Hunt, much as I hate to say it, he is literally for real. 25 fantasy points.
He is.
He now has the 2nd most yardage in his first 3 games in NFL history. The kid's good.
No,
Take it.
the Chiefs as a team
They're looking.
they're really good. They'll still lose to the Patriots in Foxborough in January.
Well,
but
you never know.
Brady, come on.
I mean,
at
yeah,
this point,
Brady in the cold is the worst thing ever. And I mean the worst. I mean he's the greatest thing ever.
All right, so number one.
Coming
straight out of Compton.
David Compton and Tim Shelton. I say that quietly because he's barely the GM. He was previously number 2.
He's assistant GM.
He's assistant GM. Brady went for 5 touchdowns and 35 fantasy points. Holy cow. Antonio Brown for 27. Jordan Howard went for 31.
Yeah,
there.
I got bodied.
Yeah, you're looking at 80 points with 3 players.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Honestly, my other note is he absolutely destroyed Nick Cruikshank, which is true.
Figured.
And David's going to keep the train rolling. And we may be looking at a champion right here.
No, that's kind of my point. People like Brady, like Antonio Brown, like they're all going to do good now, but once the season starts to end, they're not going to get as much production, and that's where you'll see people flip. So somebody like Kyle or I who limp into the playoffs when it comes down to matchups, and all of a sudden Brady sits for half the game, like
that can win you a game right there.
And see, that's where David was like, we should end the season earlier, because I'm like, no, that's the point of this.
That's fantasy, yeah. You always got to plan things out.
Nah, not in David's world. But David, I love you, baby. Sorry. All right, those are
my fantasy rankings.
All right, so those were his power rankings. Coming next week, see how he just kind of throws names on a board and changes numbers around. I think at this point is kind of how it works.
Not true at all.
Now, if your team's in shambles like Jeff or Alfredo, please follow along. Coming up, waiver wire picks. My pick this week. I talked about him before, but after last weekend versus Patriots, I think he's really got it. Deshaun Watson. Chalked up 301 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. He did throw a couple of picks, but at Clemson, he was kind of a gunslinger anyway. He's kind of got that Brett Favre mentality where the good outweighs the bad. They've got easy games coming up: Tennessee, Cleveland, Indy, the Rams. I think grab him, stash him if he's a good second quarterback. So on a bye week, or as the season progresses, I really think he's going to take off, and he's about to be a pretty good staple in this league.
I think it's a great pick. I mean, watching that game, like that was a shootout between a rookie quarterback and Tom Brady.
He almost dethroned Brady there.
I mean, that was a huge game.
Waiver wire.
My waiver wire, I'm going to go with Jared Goff. Here's why. Maybe not what of past weeks, but you see the offense and you see the chemistry starting to build with Robert Woods, with Sammy Watkins, Tyler Higbee's making plays. Gurley's catching balls out of the backfield. And then you look at his next opponents: Arizona, Jacksonville. The Seahawks I'm not big on, but they do play the Cowboys. We've seen the Cowboys let big throws happen.
No, they do. They do.
So just for a guy that you can put in.
I mean, at this point, if he's facing the Seahawks, put him in.
That's a good one.
All right. Cam?
Well, all my lovely PPR leagues, if you need a wide receiver, Sterling Shepard. Sterling Shepard has emerged as the number 2 behind OBJ. He put up 133 yards and a touchdown last week in Philadelphia. Get this guy. I know the Giants' O-line is bad, but he can catch a ball.
Totally can. I mean, OBJ, there's something wrong with him at this point. So watching the Giants game, Sterling Shepard, he's going to become a staple. And I think next year for fantasy drafts, you're going to see him go in rounds 5 and 6.
Yes.
Like, totally is one of those second option guys. So I actually completely agree with both of you guys' waiver wire picks. It's pretty good information.
Go get these guys.
All right. So stick around after the break. Coming up, we've got some Magic or Tragic, injury report, and later, El Presidente's pick of the week. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back after this.
Las Vegas is home to tabletop championships in October. The Unrivaled Tournament Series conquers the Strip with hundreds of players competing in 6 games. Ascension, King of Tokyo, Munchkin, Nevermore, Epic Spell Wars 2, and Villagers and Villains. All for the chance to win part of the $250,000 prize pool. It all takes place on October 28th in the Jubilee Theater starting at 5 o'clock. Join us in person or watch us live at umba.tv and check out unrivaled.com for a full schedule of events. Looking forward to seeing you there.
So first off on our Magic or Tragic firing squad is DeAndre Hopkins. Plays Tennessee this week. He's projected for 14.3. He's really starting to begin to establish a great rapport with Deshaun Watson, who I'm already high on. I think DeAndre goes off this week. I say he's Magic.
I completely agree, Nick. I think he's Magic. Deshaun Watson looking like a pretty good quarterback, and I think he goes for 18. Start him. He's Magic.
I agree. He is magic for me. Deshaun Watson has faith in him. He's finding some trust in DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins obviously still one of the top 10 receivers in the league. I really like him magic this week.
Perfect. I love it. All right, Chris Thompson. This will be fun with these two. They were fighting in the pre-show meeting. I think he's been mediocre, but they play Kansas City this week. I got to say tragic.
Magic, baby, all the way.
This is where
Chris Thompson is ranked number 5 right now in PPR for running backs. He put up 25 fantasy points last week, including a gigantic 74-yard run. Start him, and if he's on your waiver wire, which in 54% of the leagues he is, get this guy. He is magic. He can help you win every single week. That's right, Justin. I just said that.
He's going to be tragic. Cam doesn't understand the aspect that he's number 5 for running backs is because he catches the ball more than any other running back. He asks for more touches. Jay Gruden says he's not going to get them. He doesn't run the ball enough, doesn't score running touchdowns, and he has only big plays before his touchdowns. At some point, those aren't going to happen. Those are going to die down. Tragic. I'm not a buyer into Chris Thompson.
We'll see what happens next week, Jago.
All right.
Unbelievable.
Moving on. Carlos Hyde. Again, I'm going tragic. I mean, he did really well against the Seahawks. I don't trust a single 49er. They're a dismal team. It's a personal, not even a personal thing. I don't buy Carlos Hyde. I got to say tragic.
I like him. I think he's magic. Again, I saw this guy during the Rams game. He played very, very well. They play Arizona this week, and I think he's going to put up 15 to 18 points. I say he's magic.
I say magic as well. They feed the ball to him a lot. 25 carries in the past couple games. They feed him the ball. That's going to break down the other defensive line. Those linebackers, they're going to get tired. We saw it with the Rams. They gave up a lot of points to the 49ers. I like Carlos Hyde magic just because they feed him the ball so much.
I kind of like this. We're all on different paths. Makes it kind of interesting. All right, and finally we're going with Amari Cooper. Now, normally I'd always say magic. However, they play Denver this week, so he's going to be tragic. They're going to blanket him. Also, and this is just for the Raiders as a whole, I think there was a lot of hype in this offseason, and I'm not buying it. I think it was overblown. I think Amari Cooper's going to have a great game at all. Will he have a good season? I believe so. Will he have a great game in week 4? No. I got to say tragic.
I completely agree, Nick. They play the no-fly zone this week.
Yeah.
He's going to get maybe 8 to 10 points. He had 1.6 last week against the Redskins. What is Denver going to do? I do believe you're right, though, as far as hyping up the Raiders. People were favoring them to win the Super Bowl this year, or even playing the Patriots in the AFC Championship. I think they will win 11 games, but not as good as we thought they were. They played pretty awful against the Redskins. I think Amari Cooper is tragic this week.
I'm going magic. Here's why. Derek Carr and Amari Cooper have stepped up in big divisional games. This is a huge game at Denver. They're coming off a loss against the Redskins. They need to bounce back. I think Amari Cooper steps up this week and becomes that guy that we've known him to be and produce a lot of points and get a lot of receptions as Derek Carr's favorite receiver.
All right, there it was, magic or tragic. I don't like all of them, but whatever. You never know. All right, now it's time for the injury report, Cam. Let's hear it.
There's some pretty big injuries across the board. It was a small week, but nonetheless, Darren Sproles, man, this guy on the Eagles, he tore his ACL and broke his arm in the same play. Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. Nick Vieira has him. I know some of you out there have him. He's going on the IR, or you're going to drop him in your league. It's going to happen. So that's just bad. Jordan Reed of the Redskins did not play due to a chest injury. Same thing with Rob Kelly, also on the Redskins, cracked his ribs. Michael Crabtree of the Raiders, chest injury. He had x-rays after the game on Sunday, so we will figure out his status during the week, but he's looking to suit up next week. And then Kelvin Benjamin of the Panthers with a knee injury. They had an MRI on him on Sunday after the game. It showed no structural damage, but he's looking to play this Sunday. So not too many big injuries, guys, but nonetheless, they're all pretty big players. So we didn't get healthy.
They are. And Darren Sproles out.
That's so sad.
What happened?
I mean, it could be career-ending.
I mean, he's older, and it's one of those things when you get to his age, you do start thinking, you need to start having that mentality of, what am I going to do after this? And I mean, you're going to want to be able to walk. You're going to be able to want to run with your kids. So, Darren, I sincerely hope you get healthy. It's here. Alrighty, stud versus dud. Let's do it. Before we jump into who we think is going to be our week 4 studs or duds, let's do a little recap. Marcus Mariota torched the Seahawks. I mean, Richard Sherman lost it there for a while with that terrible hit.
Dirty hit.
I mean, he's getting frustrated, though, and the lack that the offense really doesn't do anything. I mean, even though the Seahawks defense was -4 on fantasy points, they're going to be fine, and they're literally keeping that team together, but it's just going to get to a point where effectively no scoring touchdowns out of any team, like when they played Rodgers. But I did call it, so sorry.
Marcus Mariota.
I love him.
I love him too.
I love him. Really like him.
My stud recap is Devontae Freeman. I said he was going to do well, and he did not disappoint. 106 yards and a touchdown, 22.8 fantasy points. Ride this guy into the sunset. He's a pass-catching back. Falcons are looking good. They're 3-0, and they're going to keep feeding the ball to Freeman. So ride him all the way.
All right. Now it's on to our Week 4 studs versus duds. So my first stud, it's Homer pick. Sorry.
No shock.
Russell Wilson plays Indiana. He's going to torch them.
You have $10 that they lose.
I mean,
oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is what it is. But I do think Russell Wilson is going to be a stud this weekend. Also, they're always bad in September. They're historically bad. They start really bad. All right, who's your stud?
Going off of your Russell Wilson, I'm going to go with Doug Baldwin.
Yeah.
10 receptions, 105 yards last week against the Titans. They're going up against Indianapolis. Colts secondary has some problems out there in the back end with some safety issues. Doug Baldwin found some rhythm with Russell Wilson. If Russell Wilson keeps getting hotter every week, I feel like Doug Baldwin's a good option because you know he can break a long threat down the field.
He breaks tackles too, left and right.
Yes, he does.
That's kind of why I drafted him.
My stud, of course, for you right here, and this is for Jay Gill as well, Todd Gurley. I saw him play in person. My lord, he looked really good against the Niners. They played Dallas this week. I'm saying 120 yards and a touchdown, 22, 23 fantasy points.
I will take it.
Wow. I know. He's looking sharp. And look, I know you don't like him, but he's back to his RB1 status.
I'm biased because I'm still pissed, but
I know.
it's fine.
It's hard to let that go.
No, it is. My dud, Brandon Cooks, had a breakout game, but he's just going to get lost in the sauce.
You never know.
According to the great Gucci Mane. I'm just not buying it.
I understand that. I feel that.
What's your dud?
Mine's going to be Delaney Walker, Tennessee Titans. They play Houston this week. They just focus on the run too much. I mean, between Marcus Mariota, Derrick Henry, DeMarco Murray, I mean, 3 Heisman winners that always run the ball. I don't see them passing the ball too much, and if they do, they're looking to go to Matthews. Delaney Walker, I'm just saying, not too sharp this week. Maybe 10 points at most.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Going with another tight end, I'm going to go with Zach Miller of the Bears.
Who?
Zach Miller had been picking up. He had been getting receptions, getting numbers beforehand. Last week only had 1 reception. Mike Glennon only threw for 101 yards. They're going against Green Bay Thursday night primetime game at home for the Packers. So you know those Packers defensive ends are going to come at you.
Yeah.
Not give Mike Glennon time. The linebackers they have are pretty good at covering tight ends, especially if Mike Glennon can't throw the ball for more than 101 yards. So
I like
Zach
it.
Miller.
That's also former Seattle Seahawks tight end, Zach Miller.
Everything goes back to Seattle.
The Seahawks connection.
He had a great game against Arizona in primetime game once. I do remember that. He caught a fade and outran all the Cardinals defenders on a street.
I also remember when the Ravens won a Super Bowl, so that was years ago.
You
but
guys,
it's okay.
Joe
Flacco is elite.
Somebody took the power out.
I promise.
All right, that was Studs versus Duds. We just did our Magic or Tragic. Stick around because we're going to preview next week, and then we're going to get to Compton's Pick of the Week, and you're going to see how Cam and I are doing in our head-to-head picks. Be right back after this short message.
Las Vegas is home to Tabletop Championships in October. The Unrivaled Tournament Series conquers the Strip with hundreds of players competing in 6 games. Ascension, King of Tokyo, Munchkin, Nevermore, Epic Spell Wars 2, and Villagers and Villains. All for the chance to win part of the $250,000 prize pool. It all takes place on October 28th in the Jubilee Theater starting at 5 o'clock. Join us in person or watch us live at umba.tv and check out unrivaled.com for a full schedule of events. Looking forward to seeing you there.
Hello and welcome back, Fantasy Failures. Coming up in just a little bit, we will get to David Compton's Pick of the Week. And Cam and I will talk over who's in our lead of our little pick'em game.
I know, it's doing good.
Yeah, I'm pretty curious. But first, let's go to Cam's fantasy matchup of the week.
You know, it's going to be me against Kyle. And here's why. No, it's not just because it's me.
Right.
We'll get to that in a second. But look, Marcus Mariota, who's going to be my starter, against Matt Ryan. And then my star, AJ Green, against his star, Ezekiel Elliott. If I win, I go to 3-1. If Kyle wins, he goes to 500.
Wow, you really want to go to 3-1?
Yes,
oh,
I do.
Wow.
But look, listen,
I too like to win games.
Listen, it's going to be a shootout. I think
Who put you on this show?
Listen, it's going to be a shootout. I'm thinking like 120 to 140. I think both of us are going to get really, really high scoring. It's going to go either way. And we'll see what happens. Hopefully I win.
Be sure to tune in next week when the final score is 90-85 and he's crying. All right, Jay Gill, who's your pick?
I'm going to go with one of a big game in our league, David versus Chaz. David's 3-0, Chaz is 2-1. This is two of the best teams in the league. But when you look at the matchups, David has some tough matchups that he has to face. You got Brady versus Carolina, Jordan Howard's at Green Bay, and then you look at Chaz, and Chaz has some favorable matchups. So this could be a time where we see more matchups and the easier side for Chaz that can get him more points and possibly give David that first defeat. So very interested to see how that turned out.
That's a good one.
So, Chaz, let's channel the LeVar and the Lonzo big baller and knock David off. All right, well, there you have it. It's pretty good fantasy matchups this week. I like how yours was very well thought out and informative.
It is. Shootout, I promise.
90-85, that's what I pick. All right, so we'll now go on to our fantasy player picks of the week. Mine, Tom Brady. It's
really going out on a limb.
I know. Really, you're really taking a leap of faith.
Hey, you know what? I just feel it. I feel it inside.
Oh God.
He's destroying teams a la 2007 Brady. He's going for an MVP. He's going for a Super Bowl ring, and he wants to go out on top. And as of right now, looking at schedules and who they play the rest of this year, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility at all.
Their defense is going to step up, though. If Deshaun Watson could put up 30 points on the Patriots,
yeah,
what can a good quarterback do?
I agree.
But I agree with you. I think he's on warpath. He's 40 years old, and he's putting up 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It's insanity. All right, Cam?
AJ Green. This is also
another limb.
Another biased pick. Well, hold on a second, all right? Not only is on my fantasy team, I was worried the first 2 weeks. I'm like, the Bengals are literally terrible. They haven't scored a touchdown yet. Against the Packers, they look somewhat competent. They play the Browns this week. Statistically, I think he's going to go off, and I hope he does. AJ Green, start him if you have him.
I don't. I actually think the Browns beat the Bengals.
God, that'd be awesome.
I mean, hot take. Boom.
All right, let's get to mine now. Going out on a limb here, too. Mine's going to be Travis Kelce of the Chiefs. They're facing the Redskins. 2 out of 3 games, the Redskins have allowed 100 or more yards to tight ends. The one they didn't was against the Raiders, and the Raiders don't really have a good tight end. They don't use them that much. But Travis Kelce has a chance to be big again. The Chiefs always have one player step up. You can't always stop Tyreek Hill. You can't always stop Kareem Hunt. You can't always stop Travis Kelce. You can only stop one of them at a time. That leaves the other open. So I think Travis Kelce has a big week against the Redskins.
God, I hope he does.
All right, pretty good picks. I mean, I think mine's the best, but that's because it's Tom Brady. I do like your Travis Kelce pick, though. I do really like that. And AJ,
Green,
I know. I will give it to you.
Thank you.
All right, now it's time for Cam and I's head-to-head.
I got a call anyways. So
Good.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So right now, I'm 5-9.
And I'm 7-8.
Congratulations.
I know.
Too bad there's no money on the line or anything.
I wish there was.
All right, so let's start with Hugh versus Kyle. You're projected 128, 118. I'm just gonna give it to you. I think you body him. Yeah.
I mean, thank you. That's very nice of you. Honestly, I have Kyle over me.
Wow.
And the reason being is I think Ezekiel Elliott just is gonna have a monster game next week. And again, I'm really relying on AJ Green here. I think against the Browns, he needs to get me 25 again. If he does, that'll be different. But I'm saying AJ Green's gonna have just 20, 22 for now. We shall see.
Alrighty. Chaz versus David. I had David to win this, but the more I think about it, I think Chaz is going to take him this week. 3-0 is pretty good in fantasy. At some point, you're going to lose. Mm-hmm. So I just have a feeling that Chaz will run away with this. He will channel the big baller, and they will drop points.
This is his week.
Yep.
You know, I'm actually have to disagree with you. I'm going to have David still. I think AB is going to actually torch my Ravens defense, sadly. I think 100 yards and a touchdown is enough for at least 18 points. It won't be a blowout by any means, but I think David's got it.
All right. Nick versus Jeff. Vieira, sorry, buddy. Since David Johnson went down, your team is in shambles right now. You caught the injury bug. I'm worried about you throughout the whole season, to be honest with you. I don't think it's going to turn good. Jeff's going to take this all the way.
You know, Nick, I'm actually going to disagree with you. Again, I know. Nick, I have one piece of advice. Start Stephon Diggs. He had 37 last week. he's getting at least 25 this week.
And then when he gets you 9, you can come and beat him live on air.
Then it is my fault, but I'm going to go out on a whim here and say Nick Vieira is going to beat Jeff, and Jeff's going to be 0-4. Hashtag Tattoo Watch.
All right. I'm playing Alfredo this week. For the first time since the start of the show, I'm actually pretty confident. I think I've got it this week. I think it'll be close, but just general matchups, my players. I think Shady returns. I think Jameis is going to have a good week. I think I'll probably beat Alfredo this week.
The confidence. That's so cute. Well, I have Alfredo by at least 10. I think Gronk's going to have another field day, and Drew Brees throws for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Monster day for Brees.
Oh, right.
I have Alfredo.
Fine. Final one, Jay Gill versus Armando. Armando is a really good fantasy player.
Yes, he is.
He really is. He has something like 50 leagues, allegedly. And just like with David, eventually you have to lose. So, Justin, I think this is it for you, buddy. I think you drop one to Armando, and there are no more unbeaten teams after Monday night.
I think Jay Gill has it by almost a long shot. Like I think between OBJ, Todd Gurley, and Kareem Hunt, like right there, that's anywhere from 60 to 70 fantasy points. I think he's going to put up another 120, and I think Armando is going to drop to 1-3.
Jay Gill, come over here. You have anything to say to that?
Come back.
Thank you, Cam.
You're welcome.
Whatever. Alrighty, we now go to Umba TV El Presidente offices David Compton. Giants are 0-3, so I'm sure he's got a good one for us this week. Compton, talk to us.
Dude, I got you 22 points last week. What do you want? Eli freaking Manning.
I have no idea. I honestly have no idea.
No, we're good. I'm good.
We just want to talk about it.
I mean, he's...
Maybe he has that bounce back week.
Oh,
I don't know.
Jason Parham is not on your side.
Well, woo, wow.
Alrighty.
Okay.
But, I mean, I guess come back next week and find out if Eli Manning has done something. All right, so that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for sticking with us. We hope we're helping your fantasy season a little bit with our biased knowledge. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at UmbaFF. We all tweet. You can send us mean-spirited comments, mock us for our picks, or send us happy thoughts. We would appreciate it. So, as always, I'm your host, Nick Crookshank.
I'm Cam Backstrom.
I'm Justin.
May your team never be a failure. Thanks.
Skol Vikings.